their branch name, then class, roll number. So these can be the extra or specialized variables present in the student class. So students are all having these all properties. Along with that, the special properties that make them students. I think the PPT is locked. I think the PPT is locked.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So along with that, you can add some more methods which are associated with the employee, which are specially associated with the employees. So that makes the employee a special class under the human class. So when you are going downwards, it is called the specialization. So from a general class or from a general property, you are adding some special property and you are generating newer classes. So these are the specialized classes. But when you go upward, so that is actually the generalization. How it is a generalization? Because the employees and the students, they have all the properties. Like if you call for the employees, so the common properties are also in them. So they have name, they have address, they have date of birth, as well as they have office, they have branch, they have EID, they have date of joining. Whereas we are calling about the student, the properties present in the student will be name, address, date of birth, along with that institute name, branch, class, role, etc. So when we take both the specialized class together and try to find out what is the common between them, and just by taking the common properties, we generate a generalized class over here. So that means it is called the generalization. So upward generalization, downward specialization. And this is a easier relationship because you can determine that employee is a human, student is a human, teacher is a human. So whatever specialization you are generating out of it, all of them are having related with the generalized class with a is a relationship. Okay, under the employee you can have manager. So that is a far more specialized property here. So manager can be there. You can have system administrator. So all of them are employees, all of them are human beings, as well as they have their special properties present, which makes them special. Okay. So this is how the relationship between the classes can be made. So if there is some general properties present under a number of classes, let us take them together inside a single class. Let us forward it to the other classes add the special properties of these classes and make the classes more compact. Okay, make the design more compact. So this thing is basically known as inheritance. Inheritance means from the generalized class, you are inheriting the property inside the special class. You are inheriting some data, you are inheriting some method. All that is present in the special generalized class will be equally present in the specialized class. Okay, so that is the inner core of the inheritance. So inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of the parent object. Now I am calling this generalized class and these are the specialized class. So let us in inheritance call them parents. From the parent class, the properties are flowing to the child classes. Okay, from children to the further level. So in that way, it can happen. You can generate multiple children out of a single parent. So these levels are basically generating the siblings. Okay, so this is how the tree kind of a structure can be generated in inheritance. And all they are relatives. But remember one thing, from the specialized class, the properties cannot be going towards the generalization. If the property is present in a generalized class or a parent class, the parent class will be flowing it towards the children. But the reverse flow is not present. If you declare something in the child class, that will never be accessible by the parent. Okay. So it applies generalization specialization model of OOPS and is a relationship in Java. It implements code reusability, obviously so. If you have to declare employee and student separately without taking the help of this common class, then whatever you are writing inside the common class, that twice you have to write. Once in employee, another time in student. So basically what we are doing, we are reusing the same code in two of the classes. So here comes the essence of the code reusability. Furthermore, when you are in the manager and sysadmin, so their common properties are written once, then furthermore common properties are written inside the human. So obviously a broader sense of code reusability is present in inheritance. Superclass means from where the properties are flowing towards the children. That means the class whose features are inherited is known as the superclass or base class or parent class, whatever you want to say. Superclass or base class or parent class. And subclass means the class that inherits the other class's property. Okay? These are also known as derived class, extended class or child class. So all these have the same meaning here. The subclass can add its own fields and methods in addition with the superclass's fields and methods. So what we are talking about, like the specialization. When you go for some specialization, you should add some special property that will make it special. Okay. So there should be some difference between employee and student. There should be some difference between human and student. Otherwise, why should we declare a student class separately? So obviously, the difference, the properties, the methods which is making the difference, include them as a specialization inside your child class. Okay? From the parent class, you are getting the common properties. Inside the child class, just write those properties which are only for the child class. Okay? The keyword we will use for inheritance is extends. Here we go. Class, then the name of the derived class, then extends, then the name of the base class. Like class A, if you have declared this already, and class B now is going to take the properties of class A, so class B extends A. Okay? And remember one thing, after the extends, you can have only the name of a single class. Multiple classes you cannot write. Okay? So this is the way how the inheritance is implemented in Java. Example of inheritance. So this is being an example of the inheritance. You can see we are starting with the class A, where inside we have a private variable A, a protected variable B, a normal default, this is default variable C, and a public variable D. So all these are having different access specifiers. Now afterwards we have a get data super. This is a method present in class A. So in using this, you are taking the input of 4 integers that are actually used for initialization of all this A, B, C, D, likewise. Okay, and void print data super, where we have printing opportunity for all these 4 values: private A, protected B, default C, and public D. So these are the 2 normal methods. Why we are not using the constructor? Why we are not using the same name of the get data and print data in both the derived class and the parent class? We are not going to that details right away. Okay, so for now this is the present scenario of the A class. Now your class B, that is extending the properties of A in this way. Okay, along with that, it is having its specialized variable private int E. Now after that, when we are writing the get data sub, earlier it was get data super, now we are having get data sub. Here also 4 integers we are going to take. Why 4? Why not 5? Because as we already had 5 variables here, along with that 1 more variable we are adding. So in total 5 variables are here. Why we are taking 4 values? Why not 5? Why the 4 values are taken? Anyone? If you go to the second line, this is basically initializing the B variable, the C variable, the D variable. B, C, D are protected, default, and public present in A. So these are equally available inside B as well. And the private variable of B itself, that is E. We are not trying to write anything like this. Why? As because A is
private.
Yes, it is not accessible from the subclass. You cannot access the private variable of the superclass from the subclass. But does that mean so you will not have the space reserved for this A? That is not the meaning. Basically, what is happening, if you see this picture here, A class has got 4 variables, A, B, C, D. And as it is the owner, so all the variables are accessible to it. But when you come to the B class, B is also inheriting all the 4 A, B, C, D. Apart from that, it is adding another variable E, which is private to it. Now, what will happen to B? B will have the memory allocation for A, but it cannot access this A directly as it is accessing B, C, and D. It cannot access the private variable of the superclass directly, but it will have the memory space available. And through some other means, you can put the value in A. In other means, through some other means, you can put the value in A, though it will never be directly accessible from B. Okay, how? We'll come to that. But for now, you just need to know, for A, we will have memory allocation in B, but this is not accessible. You cannot access it. Okay? By any means, you cannot access it. Similarly, if you further extend your B class, So from B class, say another class is here, that is C. Another class is here, that is C, that is trying to get the properties of B. Then what will happen? It will get A, B, C, D, E. Say F is extra, which is added by this C, capital C. Now this is going to be not accessible. This is also going to be not accessible. Both are private. But these three will be accessible. These are protected, default, and public. Public is accessible anywhere. Protected is accessible within the family. But remember one thing, if you declare this E protected inside B, that will not be accessible by A, because the other way inheritance is not possible. You can only inherit the property from the superclass, not from the subclass. Okay? So, whenever you declare a protected variable, the protected variable will be accessible within the family or within the subclasses. Whatever subclass you declare afterwards, so all the subclasses will be having the access of the protected variable. Apart from that, the protected also can be used from within the package. So when the package concept will be illustrated, we will come to that. So obviously there will be difference between protected and default. There are differences and we will get to know them. So the get data is taking 4 values. The first 3 are for the B, C, and D. Those are accessible data from the superclass, and the last one is for itself. After that, it is printing the value. When it is trying to print, see the private value, it is going to print its own private value, and the protected, default, and public is taken from the superclass. Now, when we are going to the main function, this driver class is not a relative. Obviously, if you try to access, say you are creating AA object here of the A class, and you try to write AA.small a, that is not possible because small a is private to capital A. If you write AA.B, B is protected only within the family and inside the same package. This driver class, if it is belonging to the same package, then yes. Then AA.C, if the driver class is present in the same package, then yes. If the driver class is not present in the same package, then no. If you write AA.D, always yes. Okay. So these are the access specification according to the access specifiers you have written over there. Okay. So AA.getData super 1, 2, 3, 4 that you are sending through. So this 1 will go to A, 2 will go to B, 3 will go to C, and 4 will go to D. So what will be the memory implication? For AA, if this is the memory location, so this is going to have 4 compartments. One for A, another for B, another for C, another for D. And where inside you are going to keep the data like this. Okay? After that, you are printing the data with print data super. So that means this function is going to be called. So it will write private 1, protected 2, default 3, and public D. After that, you are creating object of the subclass. And through the subclass, you are calling the get data sub. Now, B being a subclass object, it will be having 5 compartments. A, B, C, D, E. A becomes unaccessible directly. But if you can put data. If you can access data, but through some other means, not directly. And what you are sending here, 40, 30, 20, and 10. So they will be placed in this manner, 40, 30, 20, and 10, as we have such thing written. So the first data is going to B, the second data is going to C, the third data is going to D, and the fourth data is going to E. After that, you are calling the print data super. Sorry, print data sub. You are calling the print data sub. So that will be printing private 10, protected 40, default 30, public 20, according to the value you are setting over here. Now, on the next thing, what we are doing, bb.getDataSuper. So obviously, being a subclass, both the superclass methods are equally available inside your subclass. Both the methods are equally available, and using your subclass object, you can call them directly. As you can call the subclass's own methods, so you can call directly the superclasses method as well. Okay. So when you're calling bb.getDataSuper and you are sending the value like 5, 15, 25 and 35, now make it very clear. Make it very clear what I'm doing. So getDataSuper means it is going to the superclasses getData function, and which is having access to the private value of the superclass. Okay. So through this kind of method which is present in the superclass, and you have the methods access in the subclass as well. So using this, what you are doing, you are sending 5, 15, 25 and 35. So where the 5 will be going? The 5 will be written over here in the unaccessible region of the BB object. This will be overwritten with 15. This will be overwritten with 25. And this will be overwritten by 35. So we have a proof that we are having the memory space allocation for the private variable also. But this is not accessible. This is not directly accessible. Now when you call the bb.printData, where we have the printDataSuper. So using the printDataSuper, what it will print? Private 5, protected 15, default 25, public 35. Then you are calling for the same BB object, the printDataSub. So in that case, the private will be replaced with 10, its own private. So 10, 15, 25, 35. So this will be the printed output as you get from this program. After execution of this program, you are going to get this. Okay. So this is for the A class object 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one is for the normal B class object. The private of itself is 10, then 40, 30 and 20 for B, C and D. After that, this is using the superclasses method from the subclasses object. And the last one is after editing the value, after overwriting the value, what will happen if you call the subclasses function from the subclasses object. Okay. So is that clear? How you get the output? Is that clear? How do you get the memory location for the private variable as well?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here we come to the types of inheritance. Again, we are going in the level above Java. Okay, so these are the common types of inheritance present in any object-oriented programming. There are 5 categories. The first category already we have executed in our program. Okay, the first one. This is called the simple inheritance. When one object, one class is inheriting the property from another class. B is inheriting the property of A. So this is called the simple inheritance. Okay. Example will be class A being a superclass, class B extends A. So this is what we'll be creating like it. After that, multi-level inheritance. Multi-level means from a superclass, a subclass is generated. From that subclass, a further more subclass is generated in the next level. So it will be like class C extends B. I already discussed about it. Human being, employee, after that manager. So that is actually the multi-level inheritance. Okay. After the multi-level inheritance, then there comes the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance means two super classes will be there. From there you are deriving a single subclass. That means the properties of both the classes will be summed down in a single class. So that is called multiple inheritance. Then the next category is called the hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical means this is also a specialized type of multi-level inheritance, but more than one classes are derived from a single class. So in the same example, so already we have class A, class B is extending class A, class D is extending class B, class C is extending class A, and class E is extending class C. So if you can write this kind of a hierarchy, so it will make the hierarchy in this way. Okay. So from one class, two subclasses are derived. From each of the subclass, one subclasses, here in example we have taken, we can take multiple subclasses as well. Say 3 or 4 subclasses are generated. Further from there, some more subclasses are generated. So it is creating a hierarchy. Okay. So this is a specialized multi-level inheritance. After that, the next category is called the hybrid inheritance, where the multi-level feature and the multiple features are combined together to make a hybrid. This is not like a tree. Earlier, the inheritances were like tree. Now this will be like a graph. Okay, like directed graph. So in Java, when we are trying to implement, we can implement this. I have given examples. We can implement this. I have given example. We can implement this as well. I have given example of this. But using normal classes only, these two cannot be implemented in Java. Only using normal classes. Remember one thing. Java doesn't support multiple inheritance. Java doesn't support hybrid inheritance. I do not support that. Java supports multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, but you cannot use the normal only classes to implement these features. You have to take some other thing. We call them interfaces. Okay, interfaces are not classes. Interfaces are something else. But using interface, you can get the essence of multiple inheritance. And if multiple inheritance become possible, obviously the hybrid inheritance also will be possible. Okay, so we'll come to that afterwards. For now, among these 5 categories, Java supports 3 of them, like simple, multi-level, and hierarchical inheritances. So if you get some variable declared in this A, so that will obviously flow to B and C. Suppose you add B and C here. So inside D, already you will be having A and B. You can add another like D. Another, or obviously more you can add. Here in this E, you already have A and C. You can add your own specialized attributes as well. Okay. So this is how the inheritance is being created. Basically, when we are applying this simple inheritance and multi-level inheritance and obviously hierarchical inheritance, we are taking the help of a keyword extends. And as I told you, in extents, it is basically one-to-one relationship. You cannot have a list of more than one classes afterwards. Okay, so only one class can be extended into another class. Only one data set can be extended into another data set. So that is actually done by the extents. So if somehow the multiple inheritance or hybrid inheritance will be possible, that will be possible with extent some other keyword we have to incorporate there. Okay, only extents cannot do that. Now, next we will be discussing about the super keyword. So super is a special keyword which refers to the immediate super class. So if you have a hierarchy like this, actually my arrows are completely in wrong direction. When you draw the class diagram, the arrows are in different direction, whatever. So if this is the class hierarchy, so if you call super from E, so that will be D. If you call super from B, so that will be A. If you call super from F, so that will be C. So immediate super is mentioned by the super keyword. Super keyword is used in two different ways in Java during the implementation of inheritance. Super refers to immediate superclass. Super keyword can be used for two purposes as shown below. The first one to refer to the superclasses members. Okay. And the second way is to invoke the superclasses constructed. Okay. So this is very important. And what we do here, say inside the class A, you have a protected int A here. Even if using super, you cannot access private. Okay. So say you have a protected variable int A. Now, when you know about the access specifier, so while writing the program, try to make the access specifier, try to choose the access specifier in such a way so that the data accessibility should be driven very stringently. Means if the data is should not be required by the outsiders, so make it private. If you have to just loosen a little bit, so you can make it protected. If you have to allocate the data, you have to access the data within the package, so make it default. And the public is the last thing that you should do for a data. But the reverse thing is applicable for the methods. Methods generally should be accessible from anywhere. Methods are for the outsider, data always for the insiders. Okay, so data should be stringently captured, and method should be more and more public or default or protected, and at the last it should be private. If you make a method private, that means the private method only should be used within the class. So that is the last thing we want. Whatever. So now B class is extending this class A. Okay, B is extending the class A where you have a private variable B. Now, in a function present in this B, the B variable of itself can directly be referred. A also can be directly referred, but you can refer it in this way also, super.a. Then if you have a method, say ABC method is present over here. So the method you can call here, you can call it directly, as well you can call it like super.abc. So any member present in the super class, you can call it from the subclass using the super keyword. You can refer them using the super keyword. This is having a special meaning. Afterwards, we will be discussing about it. So super dot variable, super dot method. Using this way, we can access the variables and methods present in the super classes. Now, one more thing. Say you have ABC method inside A. You have DEF method inside B. You have PQR method in D. So from PQR, if you call super dot ABC, where it will go? We were discussing super means to the immediate super. But in the immediate super, you do not have a direct declaration for ABC. But when you are extending the property of A, obviously the A's properties are also in B. So equally the ABC is available in B. So that means super.abc will actually be calling this ABC. Okay, which is eventually becoming inside B. So super dot means the immediate super. Now if it is possible to have, the same ABC method here also, in that case if you call super.abc, so that ABC will be this one, not this one. If this is absent, then this one will be called. Okay. Now, to invoke the superclasses constructor, the super keyword can be used. Like here we have the superclasses constructor using which you are initializing a private value of the superclass. Now, when you create the B object like this, so inside the B object, how many rooms you have to create? You have just a single value present in B. You have just a single variable present in B. So obviously you will be having the room for B as well as you have the room for A, which is a private property of your superclass. You cannot access it, the access is denied, but you have that thing. Like I have given example, this is like a locked box you get from your ancestors, so you are inheriting it, but the lock key is not given. That means you cannot open, you cannot access the box, but the box is there with you. Okay, so the example is like that. So this is the memory implication of your BB. Now, if you want to put the values in both these spaces, so what we are doing, we are passing two of the values here. Now let us write the super. The first call will be with the super that will invoke the superclasses constructor. This constructor is invoked here, to which we are sending the first value. And after that, we'll write b equal to y. So say, if you send 10 and 20 through this, so 10 will come to x, 20 will come to y. So the 10 you are sending to the superclasses constructor, and via this x it is going to A. So A will be having the value of 10 and B will be having the value of 20. That means through the constructor you can easily put the value on the private variable of the superclass that you have inherited but you don't have any access. Okay? So superclass is very important. Super keyword is very important. Now, if we don't have any constructor present in the superclass, so by default, a default constructor will be provided by the JVM, and by default, our constructors, our subclass constructor will be calling the default constructor of the superclass. So always that calling is being going on. Always that calling happens. Okay. So if you have overloaded constructors present in the superclass, any one of the superclasses constructor you can refer from the subclass. Okay. So all these things are there. Only one thing you have to do, that means you have to try them. Super keyword example. So what we have here, we have a class vehicle present where a private string registration number, private string color, private string make, these are the three private properties are declared inside the vehicle class. and the vehicle class is having a constructor to get the values for all these of this. So that all we have at the vehicle class. If you make a special type of vehicle, that is the car, say, and it is adding one more variable here, that is the Boolean roof, if it is having a sunroof or not, true or false. And then we are having the constructor here, which is accepting. So inside the car class, inside the car classes object, how many variables you are going to have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first 3 are string type, and the fourth one is the Boolean type. So you have to pass the values accordingly. Now this arrangement you can change, but when you are sending the data to the superclass, when you are accepting it to the subclass, so obviously you have to think about it. So first 3 data, basically we are referring to the superclasses private variables, and using the super keyword we are accessing the superclasses constructor, and we are sending the values to the superclasses constructor so that they can be initialized. And further we are initializing the roof value that is present inside this class. So all the 4 properties can be initialized here. Now remember one thing, super constructor call, the superclasses constructor invocation using the super keyword should be the first line of the constructor if it is present there. If it is not present, if you are not using the superclasses constructor, it's okay. But if you are using it, using the super keyword, if you are invoking the constructor of the superclass, in that case, that will be the first line. Okay, you cannot change the order. You cannot make it in some different position. After that, now you have to print the data that you have registered. So print data sub is the function that we have inside the vehicle class, sorry, inside the car class, where we are calling the print data sub of superclass, and using the super keyword we are basically making the call. After that, we are printing the root value which is present in this particular class. Okay. So superclasses properties will be first printed using this function, and after that we will be having the value of the roof. Now if you want, you can place it first, and super dot call can come to any place. That order doesn't matter, but this order is mandatory. When you are invoking the constructor, the constructor invocation should be the first line. But when you are calling any value or any method, so that call can be at any particular position. Okay. So if you want, you can do that. Now, instead of having the super dot, this function can be called directly as well. There is no problem. You can call the function directly, or you can call it from here also. No problem. Okay. But if you just get rid of this sub and super, then both the functions will be having the same name. Then there will be problem. The problem we will discuss in the next class. But now, if you don't want, you need not to have to use this super dot, but we can use it in this way. This is one example. Okay. So when you create this car C object, it is basically having 4 rooms here for 4 variables: registration number, color, make, and roof, where you are initializing them using this WB11C2345 red, Hyundai, and true. Okay. So these values will be sent accordingly to the positions, And as a result, when you are trying to print the result, first, when it will come over here, it is calling the print directory and it will say
Ma'am, you are not audible.
I'm not talking. Roll number 2,
Yes, ma'am. Roll number 2.
3, 3, 5.
Yes, ma'am. Roll number 5.
Is it your first class?
Ma'am, I was not absent in the last class, but I couldn't give my attendance. I
You
was
were
not audible. Net was not proper.
6,
Present, ma'am.
7,
Yes, ma'am.
9, 10,
Yes, ma'am.
11,
Yes, ma'am.
12,
Yes, ma'am.
13, 14, 15, sorry, 17,
Yes, ma'am.
19, 20,
Yes, ma'am. Roll number 20%.
21, 22. So fast. 23,
22,
hmm,
22
20,
present, ma'am. He cannot give attendance because of, I think, mic issue. He has written in chat, ma'am.
I got the message. 23, 24,
Yes, ma'am.
25,
25 present, ma'am.
26,
Present, ma'am. 26.
28, 29,
29 present, ma'am.
30, 31,
present, ma'am.
31, 32,
Yes, ma'am. 32.
33,
Present, ma'am.
34.
Present, ma'am.
How many?
हमारा 35 है.
So 35, too early. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41,
Yes, ma'am. 41.
42,